what is the British government currently doing that is illegal? I mean, we have seen stuff that has been very strange. I mean, one of the things that struck me was that the remarks that the judge made on the day of the arrest were just extraordinary. I mean, calling someone in the dock a narcissist when he's jumped bail on the basis of no evidence whatsoever is just absurd. I mean, that judge was not a judge. I mean, the whole thing was extremely peculiar. I mean, and I don't think it's unlikely. I would have thought that even if the Home Secretary wants to do that it would be possible to do that. I mean, the Supreme Court isn't going to play a patsy for this. Certainly not in the country, which is as sort of, I mean, their constitutional processes are already in a complete mess. But I mean, that said, I mean, what was truly shocking to me was the fact that he was being held incommunicado for so long, and I don't understand how that could have possibly happened. I mean, what possible justification there could have been.
Well, that's why we have to worry that they might not go through their normal processes. They haven't here. As Suzie pointed out, Christine Assange said that everything in terms of legal processes when it comes to Julian Assange's case have not been followed, and we could expect anything to happen. And that's why Boyle may be right, because normally, of course, that wouldn't happen. But this is not a normal case.
Jennifer Robinson has been able to see him, though, I presume.
First day. I think the first day he was in prison, she went to see him. Because she went on TV and later said that.
And not since then, or?
Not since then. Suzie knows more about this, but I think he's not seen his lawyers. He's had apparently teleconferences with his lawyers, and there's going to be an appointment, and it may have been today in London on the 26th, that, by the way, those teleconferences or telephone calls are subject to being spied on, whereas an in-person interview with the lawyer is much more difficult in a prison where there's supposed to be attorney-client privilege, but we know they violated that inside the embassy. When Assange was meeting with his lawyers, that was surveilled, and we saw evidence of that in that case that we also discussed, where Spain was three thugs in Spain were trying to extort 3 million euros from WikiLeaks by showing them some of the evidence they had of all the surveillance tapes, including meetings with his lawyer. So, Suzie, do you know if that took place today? That meeting, was it today that he was supposed to see them in person?
I believe it was scheduled today, and I think that some people were quite confused about the order of events this week in relation to the public statements that were made about whether or not Julian had access to his lawyers. I'll just quickly recount that for you. Christine Assange had confirmed with the heads of his legal team and also with certain officials that he had not had access to them. So that her statement was entirely correct, and she consulted with the legal team prior to her making that public statement that he had not. As a result of her public statement, it got 5,000 retweets. People raised hell about it. There were all kinds of people calling the prison and making a noise about it. And next thing we knew, the prison, who were not approving any meeting until May 1st, which would be 1 day prior to Julian's next court hearing, had brought that forward by 5 days. And then Christine tweeted an update yesterday saying that, yes, now Julian is having meetings with his lawyers and is in touch with them, and that's great. And she specifically said she wanted to thank everybody who raised their voices about that issue and helped to apply pressure. And shortly after her statement, WikiLeaks tweeted out an update saying, yes, now Julian, and the key word being now Julian is able to meet with his lawyers, and they'll be meeting in person on the 26th. So yes, I do believe that went ahead.
He's not being able to see his lawyer. What was the justification that all this time went by?
I don't think there is any. I don't think they had any justification.
Right.
I don't think they had. They just simply don't approve it. I mean, it's very much like the Ecuadorian embassy. You know, the UN rapporteur requested to meet on torture, requested to meet with Julian in the embassy. We know that the embassy simply didn't authorize that meeting. So I'd say that the prison simply wasn't authorizing that meeting. So that's conjecture on my part. It's assumption on my part based on the conduct that we've seen leading up to this.